Hi, everybody. Let me tell you a new story today. Today, I'm going to share a story I heard from a friend called Fu, who is from Xining, Qinghai province, China, and now works in Beijing. Let's talk about his personal experience. Fu, like other children, went to school to study, but he said he was really not good at studying, and his grades were poor. In the year 1999, after graduating from high school, he did not have much hope of going to the university, and he did not like studying anyway. So he discussed with his family about not continuing his education and learning to drive from his father, which is a skill and can earn money early. Later, his parents agreed. Fu is actually not a naughty boy. He is a very quiet boy. Soon, Fu learned how to drive and then practiced for a few months. After becoming proficient in driving and with his family's consent, Fu prepared to drive a taxi. However, because Fu was still young and his family did not have the means to buy a car and handle the taxi license directly, which was quite difficult. At that time, there were many taxis in Qinghai with all legal documents, and new drivers actually drove the night shift. That is, drive a taxi at night. For example, the taxi owner, also an experienced driver, drives from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., 12 hours, then fills the car with gas and drives it to an agreed location to hand it over to the night shift driver. The night shift driver drives from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. the next morning, fills the car with gas, drives to the agreed location, hands it over to the taxi owner, and pays a certain fee for the taxi. Drivers rest, but the taxi doesn't. Let's do some math. If the night shift driver made 350 yuan that night, 12 hours, he gives 100 yuan to the taxi owner, spends 70 yuan on gas. Yeah, 350 minus 100 minus 70, that equals 180 yuan. Okay, that's his income. If there were a big orders like a long distance orders, he could make even more. Yes, taxi driver was a good job long ago. Okay, just like I told you, yeah, taxi driver was a good job, not now. Fu was ready to start with this night shift taxi driving. It happened that his father knew a friend whose relative was a taxi owner. They met together, and Fu's father's friend was the guarantor. The taxi owner checked Fu's driving skills, and both sides signed an agreement. Fu's life as a night shift taxi driver began. Fu was actually very happy. He liked driving, and moreover, he was going to make some money himself. So he slept more during the day and prepared hot water and tea at night, to drink some strong tea to stay awake. Every morning, at the time of handing over the taxi, Fu would arrive at the agreed location early, clean the car carefully, hand it over to the owner, and pay the rent as agreed. The taxi owner thought that although this man was so young, he was trustworthy, very good, and liked Fu very much. Soon, 3 months passed, and Fu earned some money, which he earned it through his work. He bought new clothes for his parents, and took them to a restaurant for meals. His parents were very relieved, and his driver's work was also very satisfactory. Basically, he knew all the roads in the city, and there were no problems. However, on the early morning of March 18th, the year 2000, around 5 o'clock in the morning. Something happened that made Fu's heart tremble with fear. The time is very clear because Fu said that he would never forget this matter for the rest of his life. So what happened? Let me tell you. Although it was already more than 5 in the early morning, because it was in March, it was still very dark. And in Qinghai, there was no full light until 8 o'clock. There were still 2 hours left before the taxi would hand it over. And he thought it was still early, so he parked the car at the hospital entrance. The hospital, after all, always has people who need a car, regardless of the time. This was in the year 2000, everybody, and there were not so many private cars yet. People either took the bus or took the taxi when going out. But in the evening, you have to take a taxi. There was no bus at that time. Fu parked the taxi, and the radio was on, which was the local FM radio station. The radio was playing a song, and Fu remembered it very clearly that the song was from Zhang Yu, from Taiwan, named The Moon's Fault. The song's name, The Moon's Fault. Taxi drivers are used to listening to various broadcasts, crosstalk, storytelling, songs, news, and other programs. Fu was not sleepy. His mind was clear. He had slept enough during the day, and he had also drunk tea, so he was not tired. At this time, there were no passengers, so he lowered the car window and lit a cigarette. The car radio was playing a song. I can sing this song. It's a song about love. Yeah, let me sing it for everyone. 都是你的错，轻易爱上我，让我不知不觉满足被爱的虚荣。都是你的错，你对人的宠是一种诱惑。都是你的错，在你的眼中总是藏着诱人又爱又怜的朦胧。都是你的错，你的痴情梦像一个魔咒。被你爱过还能为谁蠢动？我承认都是月亮惹的祸，那样的夜色太美太温柔。It is something like this. So the general meaning is, it is all your fault. You made me fall in love with you. It's all your fault. You fell in love with me easily, making me unconsciously satisfy the vanity of being loved. It's all your fault. Your favor to people is a temptation. It's all your fault. In your eyes, there is always a hazy look that makes people love and pity. It's all your fault. Your infatuation dream like a spell. Being loved by you can still be foolish for whom? I admit it's all your fault. Such a night is too beautiful. You are too gentle. Or something like this. Alright, everybody. Just as he was listening to this song, suddenly Fu felt very sleepy. The feeling came so fast, without any signs. Fu said that he was not even prepared to sleep. But his eyes were already closed, his head leaned back, and Fu fell asleep. However, it felt like only a few seconds, and suddenly someone pulled the back door and got in the car. Fu felt the car sink, and then the door closed again. Fu smelled a very strong perfume immediately. He tried to open his eyes. His head was still dizzy. He still had a cigarette in his hand. He threw it out. It's not polite to smoke anymore. He looked at the rear view mirror to see who the passenger was. He could only see that it was a woman, because he could see her bright red lips, but he couldn't see what she looked like. This female passenger kept looking at her hands since she got in the car, and her fingernails were painted bright red. Fu asked, "Hello, where are you going, please?" The answer was, "Shafi Dance Hall." The name can be translated directly as Flying Rainbow and Cloud Dance Hall. Fu's mind was confused. Where is Shafi Dance Hall? Why haven't I heard of it? And then he felt his mind go blank. But he started the engine, shifted gears, and started driving. Fu has no memory of this experience later, and he doesn't know how he drove to a place he didn't know at all. The female passenger sat in the back did not speak the whole way, just looked at her fingernails all the time, and the bright red nail and lips swayed in Fu's rear view mirror. This is the only thing Fu remembers about the whole driving process. The taxi drove for a while, and it should have arrived. After stopping, the door opened and someone got out of the car, and the door closed with a bang. The sound of the door made Fu wake up in a sudden, and the car was still playing The Moon's Fault, the same song. Such a night is too beautiful and you're too gentle. Fu thought. It was strange. This is the radio station. How many times has this song been played? Then he remembered. No, this female passenger left. She hasn't paid yet. Fu opened the door and got out of his car. After getting out of the car, Fu regretted it immediately. Oh my God, where is this place? There's no one around. It's pitch black apart from the headlights of the taxi. Under the illumination of the headlights, there is a dilapidated house. The doors and windows are all broken, and there is a sign on it that is about to fall, with 5 Chinese characters written on it. Shafi Dance Hall. Fu stood there in a daze, looking around. Apart from his faint sound of the song coming from the radio, there was only the sound of the wind blowing the fallen leaves. There was no woman who took the taxi, and he felt that there was no other life around him except himself. Fu rushed back to the taxi and drove desperately along the road. After driving for more than 10 minutes, he finally arrived at a place he knew, and his clothes were soaked with sweat. Fu finally calmed down and remembered where he had driven, based on the road he had taken. It was probably the southern suburbs. He could only vaguely remember the female passenger getting in a car, going to Shafi Dance Hall, saying her red nail and red lips all the way, and the women getting out of the car and disappearing. Fu was in a place he had never been to before. The radio station was still playing the same song. Fu was still very curious about the place the female passenger wanted to go, Shafi Dance Hall. He had already known some taxi drivers' friends who were his age or slightly older. Fu found a friend and asked about it. Fu said, "Brother, do you know Shafi Dance Hall?" Answer, "Ah, yes. It's in the southern suburbs. It was very popular a few years ago. But in the year 1998, someone had a fight and someone got killed there. So it was closed. It's been abandoned. What's the matter?" Fu said, "Oh, nothing. Just asking." The answer, "Don't go there. There was no passengers. Besides, I heard from the old drivers that it is not clean. Fu said, Oh, okay, I know. Fu didn't have the courage to verify this matter at all. He didn't have the courage to check whether the dance hall had anyone die or what had happened. He still doesn't understand what happened that night. Later, Fu stopped being a night shift taxi driver and went to a technical school to learn car repair. Now, he works as an auto repair engineer in a large company in Beijing. Of course, he still dares to drive, but only during the day, and he never listens to Zhang Yu's song again. Okay, that's the story, everybody. Please share what you think of the story and your stories. Thank you, everybody. This is Access Short Time, and I am Alex. I got so many stories to share with you guys. See you next time. Bye.